Okay. I'm going to record this next part so Lee can use it on Wednesday. So here we go. So I'm just going to spend about 10 minutes going over a couple things here and talking about communication a little bit, right? And why it's so important. Here we are. So remember, huge piece of this class. This class is this slide. And this slide is what employers want, what keeps your job interesting, what makes you look good because you know where to put your efforts and your energies, right? Being curious, being creative, and being critical. Critical thinking at every level of your day in life, except for when you're at Burning Man and you're just like throwing it all to the wind. The rest of the time, critical thinking is the foundation of what you do every single day. Why, I shouldn't step off this curb without looking because I might get hit. That's critical thinking, right? You're using a framework of saying, decision, what am I doing? And you haven't gotten hit by a car because you thought about it and now you don't ever do it, right? That's not always the best analogy, but I like that one because it's kind of got some danger, right? Being creative, like I just said on the memes. I don't want you to be scared. I want you to take chances here. I want you to flex. Show me what you got. If you got an idea that you think's funny or great or interesting or ironic or whatever, I'll never come down on you as that being bad. Never. Only if you don't do it, right? And I try to make that clear. And then obviously curiosity is the foundation of your life, what employers want. How do you get interested in something, right? So in this case, I'm walking you through this process. Come up with an idea you're all interested in, and then you have the flexibility to decide underneath that what you're going to look into. What really makes you curious and dive into it, okay? So then we're going to do that in this assignment all the way, and you're going to actually develop some skills, right? You're going to write and think and work and edit. You're going to write a script. You're going to record some audio story. You're going to get better at stuff, right? That's the goal. You're obviously going to gain some knowledge, right? Both individually and collectively. And you're going to literally use your voice. You're going to have to, right? You're going to speak on recording, which is terrifying. I'm good with it now, but when I first started recording myself, I was terrified. It's safe to be able to talk and no one can record it, and if it just goes away, right? But as soon as you record it, it's on there, right? And you have to, other people can hear it. You can hear yourself, right? So I want you to work on that. Obviously, critical thinking. I posted these. We're not going to go through all of them explicitly, but it's because of this. Honestly, I want you to care about soils. I want you to share soils with people. I want you to learn stuff about soils. Yes, but I want you to be more marketable. I want you to be more employable. I want you to have a better life. Like, I can't say that any more clearly. And these are the things that we're working on. All these lists of things: problem solving, critical thinking, creativity, working with people, working with others, being emotionally intelligent, judging, making decisions, service orientation, some of those less than others, cognitive flexibility, making a meme. I've never made a meme before. Well, be flexible, right? You're going to get thrust into situations throughout your life that you're not ready for. So be open to them. Be flexible, okay? And that's ultimately what this assignment's about, is you getting that stuff, okay? I throw this up every single time. My first semester at Chico State, this is what a student produced for me. And he was so nervous that I wasn't going to take his hand-drawn picture. He was like, is it okay if I don't do it digitally? Because initially I wanted people to do this assignment digitally. And this dude it's even more beautiful in person. The scanned version isn't as stunning as the one that's framed in my office, right? I took his art and framed it. It's in my office on campus because it was so stunning, right? And not to make you feel like the bar is high, but like one group out of here, at least one, is going to produce something so cool, and you're all going to recognize that when we listen to it. You'll be like, hell yeah, that one's good, right? And that's the environment that I want you to embrace and feel comfortable in. Like, try it out, right? Produce something cool, and then you'll be immortal because you'll be on my YouTube channel, and every class after this will hear your work, right? That's scary, I know. Collaboration, right? Collaboration is key. We create teaching environments where you compete against people and you work on your own stuff in isolation for points, right? That's not what we're doing here. I want you to work together to develop something really great. Yeah, you have to do some stuff on your own, fact sheet, but the rest of it's you working together. Every week I'm giving you that space to do it because I want you to know this is really important, right? So part of this is like asking questions. That's why I'm always like, has anybody got any questions? Because every single question that's asked makes the environment better. It makes you realize that your question that you didn't ask, someone else had, or you learned something from the question that they asked that you hadn't thought about, right? Collaboration is about that. It's about being willing to share and engage, right? Also, it's about identifying what skills you have and working towards using those, and identifying which ones you don't have and finding people that have those, right? This assignment, one of you in your group is going to be the script writer. It happens every time. One person just loves it. They're the documentarian, right? And you're not. And you're like, cool, good job. You know, collaboration is about knowing yourself and knowing what you're not good at and finding those people, finding people that support you, right? Hopefully in this group environment, you're all going to find a little piece of yourself that you're like, yeah, I'm good at that. Take some lead, right? Don't be scared. Okay, so let's get to the actual communication part, right? So these are these tips right here. So this is a mix. This slide's a mix of this Wikipedia link. Wikipedia is amazing, right? So Wikipedia is a go-to. Now, use your critical thinking, fact checking, right? Because this is crowdsourced, and actually Wikipedia is amazing because when something happens popularly, their Wikipedia page gets changed right away, right? People get owned on Wikipedia in a delicious way. But science communication, right? So we're stressing communication. You can put in add communication. Science communication is just, okay, scientists need to do this better, right? But what are we doing? We're trying to communicate effectively with an audience. We're trying to share our information with people, right? To make an impact, either one we want or one we could never even imagine. You never know what the impact your work is going to have. And it's surprising when you do something and you get praise for it and you never thought you would, because you're always doubting yourself, right? So why do we do this stuff? For me personally, besides wanting you all to know, I'm just going to say it. I want to harvest your good information. I want to harvest your effort. We're gonna look at the link of the previous submissions, not all of them, just some of the more polished ones. And I get those. I'm gonna get 2 or 3 or 4 out of this class that next year students are gonna get inspired by, right? I love these because I can share them with my colleagues. I can share them with other teachers. Look at this cool thing my students did, right? It makes me look good. I'm being, totally being greedy on that. But like, do that. Find ways to use your voice, okay? So you're going to be communicating about soils, and that's really the only guidance that I'm giving you, right? Yeah, I want there to be management, or I want there to be a story, but I'm giving you the flexibility to choose what you want. Now, at the end of the hour, we're going to go back into the breakout rooms, and you're going to have more time, and I'm going to come in and talk to you, right? If you're uncertain, ask. I guide groups every single time. That's a great idea. Or, hey, what about this? Or, have you thought about this? And help sharpen your question, okay? So, what are the things you got to think about? Now, you're not going to hit all of these this time, but I want them to be brought to your attention. So, who's your audience, right? In all my assignments, I always try to give you one. Your elementary school brother, cousin, or niece, and your grandparents. Right? Those are the people you're doing this for, right? You want it, and I want you to do that because I want you to make it plain language. I don't want you to over technicalize it. I don't expect you to talk sciencey because I want this to be approachable by a broad audience, right? It's not written for a technical group. You don't have to use jargon, right? That kind of thing. You're going to build a message. This is the most important piece of this whole assignment. And this is why I give you like 8 weeks to work on it. It takes time for that message to develop. you don't write a good message unless you're practiced, naturally disposed to it the night before, right? Sometimes it takes time. Sometimes it takes trying that message on people and seeing how they respond, right? So think about your message. What are you trying to say? And that's why I said, what's your topic? Why do you care? And in doing that, you're building some message. You're like, I care about this, so I want someone else to care about it, okay? Obviously, connecting with the public is the most important thing, right? In the sense that in America specifically, we've trained multiple generations of people to think that they're not good at math, they're not good at science. Scientists are the smart people in lab coats. They talk in fancy words and all that kind of stuff. And that's doing nobody service. So that's why I want you to feel empowered to take things that might be complicated and find an interesting way to explain it or to tell that story. Because if you get one person that hears what you said and it changes their life, or, that's pretty big, but like changes them in a little way, that's great. All your efforts are worth something. You've made a difference. And that's what we all need to do, right? So that's why we're trying to get the public to understand that farming is really important. Soils are really important, right? Okay, tell a story. I always try to set this up as storytelling, right? And if you want to understand storytelling, go listen to some of the best comedians. They are the experts of storytelling, right? Eddie Murphy, Richard Pryor, Dave Chappelle is a master storyteller. Go listen to Chappelle's jokes and understand that he is carrying you through all kinds of stuff through a story that he's setting up for a punchline, right? Not saying you have to be telling Dave Chappelle jokes, but think about the story you're trying to tell. You're not just talking about soils. You're trying to get someone to understand something, and you want to drag them through it or guide them through it, right? And by acknowledging that storytelling is critical, you'll start to think of it in those terms, right? Hopefully, or at least I'm introducing that to you. And it took me a long time to know that too. This stuff's a little bit more nuanced for, other purposes, but talk to journalists. This is just to say, talk to people that professionally communicate. When you get a chance, when you go to a talk and hear someone give a talk that you're really interested in, you can go talk to them. Go ask them how they do stuff. When you see talks, you see presentations, see how they do it, and think about how you can incorporate that into your own thing. That's a little bit premature here, but you're all going to speak in public. You're all going to present information, and always take people's good ideas and incorporate them into your own. Okay, so make it understandable. I already said that. Do not try to make it fancy. Do not try to use big words, right? Make it as simple as possible. Deal with the controversial topic or a simple one, right? That's part of your storytelling is what are you trying to achieve? Are you trying to uncover something? Are you trying to reinforce something? Are you trying to lead someone to a point where they see it for themselves? Just acknowledge that, it takes a little bit of crafting to get there. And that's why you're going to write a script. That's why you're thinking about this every week, because sometimes it takes a while for that stuff to happen. You're incorporating new information, stuff like that. Embrace uncertainty, right? It took me a long time to appreciate this one, but it's okay to not know, and it's okay to state that, right? In your stories, you could say, well, there's this topic that people are really interested in, and there's just not a lot known about it, so we're not going to, tell you that it's up or down at this point. Acknowledge it, and that builds confidence in the viewer. The viewer's like, oh, this person's not trying to be an expert and tell me everything. Mix up communication channels. I'll get to that a little bit later. And then learn to communicate, right? And that's what we're doing. That's why I'm putting you in this position, because it takes work. It's just like throwing a baseball, right? There's people that are pitching. They got a good motion. They know where their arm is. They know by doing this with their wrist, the ball's going to go a certain way. And communication across all different types is exactly the same. You practice it. You think about how you're going to deliver that information and how you're going to set the viewer up to see it and receive it in a way that's meaningful, okay? So that was my take on that. What do we got here? Okay, here. I got it right here, like I planned it. So quickly, before we move on to the next activity, just remember the goal for you all, and I'm going to hit you up on this again, is to work together to develop something interesting, something that's engaging, and something that you're proud of, right? The last part, hopefully, is the most important. You're not just throwing some crap at the wall to get it done, but you engage this opportunity and do something cool with it, okay? So I'm gonna stop my recording. Let's see here, stop recording.